In this week's episode of Chateau Capers, I throw a bamboo javelin, Jane takes off her glasses, my arms turn yellow, and we reveal the tiling for the new garden bedroom. It is Friday lunchtime, and normally Friday I sort of treat as a little bit like a day off because I put the video out on Thursday, so Thursday is a very busy day and Friday I'm normally exhausted. But this weekend, tomorrow, Château DIY are coming for 2 days to film us doing various things, tiling the floor in the laundry room, which is behind me, a bamboo archway for the rose garden, and Jane will be working on the staircase, the back staircase, the walls, to tidy up the walls and maybe start painting the walls because they look a bit shambolic at the minute. I can see the swimming pool just over there, looking delightful. I want to jump in. Might have to jump in later. So I've got a bag of pre-made mortar, which I'm going to add a bit of gravel to and use that to finish off doing the last little bit that I want to do of the floor before Chateau DIY come to see it, just so it looks a little bit neater. But we're sort of doing things slightly backwards, out of order a little bit, just to ensure that they have something to film when they want to visit. It's always the way. You can't just do everything perfectly in sequence because it never works out like that. But that's life, it's fine. We carry on, and yeah, I'm going to do that now. It'll actually be nice to get out of this warmth because it is roasting, and I've got red hair and fair skin. I'm like a vampire. The next morning I carried on titivating the old laundry room. This pipe was for drawing well water up for use in the chateau, but the system is gone and we rely completely on the main supply, so we don't need it. Besides, what if a monster slithered out of the abyss and up the old pipe? Nope, best to get rid of it. There was a filming delay which gave me some extra time to get things ready. I made up another batch of lime mortar for the wall, but it wasn't going according to plan. It all seemed to mix together okay, but when it came time to pour it out, the mortar got camera shy and refused to come. I had to scoop it out with a trowel. But it was okay because the mortar was sticky and was very happy, when pressed, to fulfill its destiny. It was already a very hot day and I had to spritz the wall with water several times to ensure it was damp enough so that it wouldn't suck away all the moisture from the new lime mortar I was applying. I am covered in lime, and interestingly it looks like the lime mortar reacts with the sunscreen that I'm wearing because my arms have turned a bright yellow. I'm going to have to look that up, see whether it's a sunscreen or the more I rub it, the more yellow I get. It's very odd.
This is a public health warning. Lime used in traditional building methods is highly alkaline and can cause chemical burns, and so should be washed off the skin immediately. Is this why Rory's arms were turning yellow? Fortunately not. The UV screening compound avobenzone is a little unstable and tends to change into a form that reacts with oxygen to produce a yellow product which you may have seen on white clothes after a day wearing budget sunscreen sprays. This process is greatly accelerated by strong alkalis such as lime mortar. However, if you get lime or any strongly alkaline substance like household bleach on your skin, and you notice it feels slippery when you rub it, that is not moisturiser. Do not rub it all over your body. The slimy sensation is the protective oils in your skin being stripped out and turning into soap. Next stop, severe skin damage. The process is called saponification, and it's the same basic chemistry humans have used to make soap for about 5,000 years. Now back to the main programme.
Anyway, I've used up all the lime I've got. So I've got that much left to do of the base scratch coat. And that's all I can do. I've run out, so I'll have to go and buy some more. So the next thing to do, because we thought Château DIY were coming today, but they'd got their dates mixed up, so they're coming tomorrow, which means we've got an extra day to get things ready and tidy up. So that's why I've been doing this, to make it look a bit more like I got a bit more done from the last time they were here. I think one of the big important things will be to have a little preliminary play around with the tiles to make sure we know where we think we're going to start the design, because it's not just one color, it's a design. Anyway. Boy, oh boy, it's absolutely roasting. Probably 32, 33 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. 80 something, maybe? Anyway, we've come to our dreadfully dense bamboo forest behind us. It's on the far side of the lake, so the chateau is over that way. And we're going to chop a load of bamboo down. Maybe we're going to get about 10 pieces of bamboo down, because we're going to practice making an arch, which is going to go in Jane's formal rose garden, cottage garden in front of the chateau. But before Chateau DIY film us doing that tomorrow, or films Jane doing it tomorrow, we want to have a practice so that Jane knows what she's doing before the cameras roll, because we're sort of making it up as we go along.
We started off by looking for the thickest and tallest stalks, and Jane went in with the ratchet loppers. Nearly 2 years ago, Jane cut back the bamboo thicket heavily to open up a walkway alongside the fence we were building. As we cut out the new bamboo, we realised just how much it had regrown in the time since. This plant is insanely fast growing. You can see some of the dried stalks she cut hiding in the back. We have thought about buying some peacocks to live at the chateau. I imagine they'd look something like this. The next task was to find the best, most efficient way to strip the branches from the bamboo.
That's pretty good.
Oh, well done.
I think it works.
That was
So these really skinny ones, they'll either be middle fillers in the arch shape, or we could chop these and use these as the sort of the weavy bit.
Yeah.
Especially the thinner end, because they should be a little bit easier to bend, I reckon.
The next task was to find the best, most efficient way to strip the branches from the bamboo.
Thought I'd cut myself, but I think just banged an existing cut.
Jane sensibly decided to use secateurs. I preferred the more manly approach. I first used a brand new gardening knife bought from Lidl. It worked okay, but struggled with the thicker branches, and eventually the blade got terribly warped and blunted. Cheap rubbish, sadly. Next up, I used a hatchet. This worked much better on the thicker branches, but did sometimes take off some of the outer layers of the main stalk. All in all, I think Jane's approach was the better solution.
Pyramid orchids are abundant around here, not just in our meadows, common you might say. We had never seen lizard orchids before, which have just come into flower with their many tongues. But my favourites are the magical bee orchids.
A little progress update for the tropical garden, planted in cold rain. We now have a heat wave. It's 35 degrees and it's been going on for a few days. So most things have grown and they've settled in, but you can probably see that the dahlias are starting to look a little bit like they want to wilt, and even some of the cannas have got a little bit of brown around the edges. So this is just too hot. However, we've got some cooler weather coming next week and I'm watering every day. I'm very happy that my salvia cuttings have started to make new leaves and new side shoots. So as long as they're not overwhelmed by heat, they're going to be great. I've just got to hope that they hang in there. The bananas are growing well, the cannas are mostly growing well. So fingers crossed, really.
If I'm a normal heighted person and then we want that much,
Okay.
then I think,
That's enough.
yeah,
Okay.
I think the centre of the arch is there. So don't put it in there.
It can be a bit lower.
Yeah, well, way low. You want here or something. There.
We needed a framework on which to bend the bamboo. We marked it out with small metal pegs, but they weren't up to the task. I asked Galadriel for help, but it turns out she's just a cat. Jane found some much larger pegs made of rebar bent into a big hook shape, and they worked perfectly.
One is a pretty girl.
Is one talking about oneself?
Yeah.
First of all, we tried tying the bamboo together with garden twine.
Well, let's just see if it's going to work, and if it isn't, then we do something else.
It was immediately apparent that it would be extra fiddly and not strong enough without wrapping it round and round and round. The solution we came up with was tie wraps. They're strong and really easy to attach. All in all, we pre-made 3 bamboo arches ready for filming.
Well, the roses have been very abundant, very delicious smelling this year, which is lovely. But of course, they've also suddenly been caught by this really hot spell and they're suffering a little. However, we pressed on to start making our arch, and it doesn't look super impressive at the moment. That's because it needs quite a lot of supports to be added in. So it'll be tied in, and there are going to be 5 arches per entranceway, and also some posts to tie it all together. So this is just proof of concept really, and don't worry, hopefully it'll look a lot tidier when it's finished.
After overcoming music festival traffic and police roadblocks, the Chateau DIY filming crew finally arrived and got straight onto filming their start of day shots. Dom, the PD, or producer-director, has been here twice before.
I love this cat. He's one of my very favourites.
He's a lot of fun to be around, but he does seem much more interested in Lord Percy than us.
I've missed you. I've been wondering how you're getting on.
Accompanying him this time is researcher Layla, who has been here once before and also worked on the successful Chateau DIY spin-off Win the Dream.
Well, you've got to have a fairly stable surface.
This latest contribution to next year's series saw Jane beginning the wall repairs on the back stairs. To use Jane's vernacular, this wall is in a parlous state. As the staircase will be used by guests who come to stay in the gîte, it needs to be decorated to a very high standard. The first day had been full of unexpected setbacks, of course, which meant we didn't get as much filmed as we'd hoped, so the pressure was on the second filming day to squeeze everything in. Jane began the day by using a roll-on finishing coat wall skim to smooth out the wall. We'll come back to that in another episode. I'd planned to begin tiling the laundry room floor on the first day, but that didn't happen. When I finally did start, I realised I had a big problem. This is the layout of the bedroom. Using decorative tiles, we'd planned out a pattern. A plain grey tile around the perimeter of the room, followed by a decorative edging tile, shown here as a black line, and then filled with a patterned tile. However, just in time, I noticed that our plan required the decorative edging tiles to have 2 different corners. Effectively an inward-facing corner tile and an outward-facing corner tile, but they only made one type. This meant that I didn't have tiles for these 2 corners. The solution was to change the layout thusly and to have 3 distinct areas: the corridor, the bedroom, and the sitting or dressing area. We both agreed that as it happens, we prefer the new layout anyway. I've never tiled a floor with such small tiles before, and it is vitally important that I don't let the gaps drift wider as I lay them. I was using a tile levelling system that clamps the tiles together to keep them level, along with cross spacers that would hopefully stop the joints from widening. It was actually quite tricky, as the levelling clips do have a tendency to push the tiles apart as you tension them, so I had to be extremely careful. As you can see, I haven't actually finished removing the old tiles from parts of the floor yet, but that's filming schedules for you. In all, I completed the first 4 rows of the bedroom area. After the filming was over, we shared a bottle of rosé and an Eiffel Tower of macaron, which obviously lasted seconds, as Jane and Dom put the world to rights. The next morning I smashed off the tile levelers and stepped back to see how the new floor looks. We still prefer the new layout and can't wait to see how it'll look when finished.
After what feels like many years working on pieces of wood of all shapes and sizes, we are still in this room, now working on our homemade skirting boards. Rory sanded them down, ready for the first paint coat. We now have something of a time limit, as when Château DIY visit again, we're hoping they will stay with us and will therefore be using this room. But with so much work still left to do, will we be ready in time?